Say something, Carson.
Say again?
I just wanted you to say something.
Something.
Okay.
I was going to say, sometimes when you are talking, if you say it real fast, it kind of clips the beginning and end of what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Something else. Hey, I've got this space bar to, it's a default for, doing stuff, but now it's part of the enhanced movement. So every time I go up to the crate and hit inventory, I jump over the crate.
Okay, don't use spacebar. Do you have a mouse wheel?
Yep.
Click with your mouse wheel on everything.
I don't know if that's going to work. It seemed like I just looked through my site.
Alright, head to the front of the base when you're done.
Where are they?
Uh, Radio check over.
Which are they?
I hear you.
Blackthorn. Head outside the area you're in. Do you see me? Need to figure out where the front of this fucking fob's at.
Oh, good question.
It looks like it's north, so we need to go this way. Oh.
Hello?
You forgot Carson. Never mind, there he is.
Good.
That works too.
Oh my
Shack,
Jesus.
shack
What are
up
these people
us.
doing here?
Coots, Blackthorn, Carson.
This is what 1-2 is all about, man.
Bodies.
Yeah, pretty much.
Carson, come over
Stop
here.
being
Shack
respect-
with me,
Now,
brother.
like, the people are really quiet.
Okay, I can fix that. What you do, if people are quiet, go to press escape. Alright? Go to configure. Okay. Go to add-on options. Hit the drop down. Go to Acre 2. Adjust the post-mix global volume.
Argus,
Copy.
when you're ready, you can pretty much start. This is probably this is what we got right now. So
Alright.
you can start right now because we are 1 minute past.
Gaggle
Alright.
on Argus. School circle, gentlemen.
So yeah, gentlemen, Argus is going to be going through some stuff with us. So without further ado, this is first LT Argus.
Okay, stand by. Everybody in the server, I'm just going to teleport you real quick.
We're in Alpha 1-1, Argus, by the way.
Brought binoculars in before you do that?
Yeah, you might as well get everybody having a vector right now.
All right, everyone, just go to the box and grab a vector.
There's vectors in the box?
Yeah, I don't
Should
think
be.
we can get them.
Oh, there might not be.
There's not in the
There
regular
is not.
equipment box. Schmidt,
Right.
you want to just drop a Zeus?
What about FTL? Do they have vectors?
Negative.
Wait,
Yes, we do.
Yeah, just you know, I'll take a FTL loadout for this anyway. That'll
Okay.
work just fine.
Yeah,
Everybody
grab
just
an
take a
FTL
scroll
loadout.
wheel FTL loadout. And
And
your
then-
radios will be screwed.
And then just reset your radios, and then make sure that you do have a vector. Everybody hit their B and make sure you get the vector just to verify.
Yeah, and everybody, like I said, Bravo, get back on Block 3, Channel 1, alright?
You got it.
Is Child's here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, alright, good stuff. Make sure you blew up, brother.
Looking for the fucking vector.
Is Schmidt
You
like
gotta-
floating
you gotta
up
grab
and
a
down
fire
from
team
anybody
loadout.
else?
Oh.
Hmm?
Everybody just grab
You keep
FTL.
floating from
Yep.
me.
He was standing on something. His character was trying to get
Oh,
footing.
okay. Okay.
All right, when everybody's done, please let me know so I can teleport.
Cooch ready.
Just scroll wheel loadout, take FTL loadout, should be done.
Bravo, just take a knee when you hit it up.
Why is my basic radio broadcasting on 152?
Because you got your push-to-talk set to that.
No, it's
No, I
something
don't.
I've noticed. It switched the other day. Childs, if you can. just
You're
get used
good
to
there,
pressing
Argus. You're
control
good.
apps.
Yeah, you can teleport us.
Yeah, how do I do the fucking hair story again?
What's sorry?
The radio is different than what I normally have.
Just drop the 152.
Boom chiller.
Just go into your inventory
Yeah,
and
just
drop the
drop it.
152, and then you'll be set with the 343.
All right, fellas. Don't worry about your radios for now. So what today is all about is reconnaissance. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
All right.
You're on yelling, are you, Argus?
Yeah, I've got it set up all the way.
Cool.
We hear
Yeah,
you.
You're
It's
good. You're good.
Okay, so what we're going to be talking about today is reconnaissance. I'll be stepping in as a guest lecturer to go over reconnaissance. And one of the first things in respect of reconnaissance that you got to start with is enemy vehicle and weapon identification. Okay, we're not going to spend the whole class on this, or the whole SP on this, because really there's only a few really key things that you want to cue in on and be able to report accurately on. Okay. So we're going to start off with the static weapons that I've got here. And just going to pull up my post for you guys here. There we go. All right. So starting off with the statics then, we want to know the difference between a couple of static machine guns. And so first of all, what we've got here is a Cord machine gun, heavy machine gun, 14.5 millimeter. Okay, nice long barrel with a flash suppressor on the end and multiple boxes attached to it. Versus on the other side here, an older model, 12 point, somebody help me out, 7?
12.7
12.7.
107.
Yeah, 12.7 millimeter machine gun. Okay, one box on it, shorter barrel. This is an older model. Okay,
Commonly known as a Dishka.
yeah. So this is your Cord. Okay, 14.5, and your Dishka is 12.7, the smaller one. Okay, and you can think of these, if you want to put it in your head that way, in terms of a 50 cal and a 30 cal. Okay, equivalently. If you want to put it in terms of American gear. The other thing you want to be aware of, and I just, it's not necessarily like you're going to be like not know what this is, okay? But I want you to be able to describe accurately the name for it, okay? So this is a ZU-23-2, okay? A ZU-23-2, okay? This is a static anti-aircraft weapon, okay? And then you have its counterpart that is mechanized over here.
The Shilka.
Okay. This is a ZSU-23, okay, 4, okay? So the 2 over there, 23-2. Oh, seriously?
Yeah, they're both 50 cal machine guns. Yep.
The dish gun is the World War II era. Cord was the one that replaced it.
There you go. Thank you. I'm missing one, obviously, so I know there's another one. But anyway, so Cord and Dishcom, that's important. Know the difference. But with respect to the ZU-23, okay, the ZU-23-2 is the static version, okay. The missing S refers to the mechanized version here, and it's got 4 barrels. So it's a ZSU-23-4, okay, versus a ZU-23-2, okay. So that's the 2 ways to identify these two separately. Otherwise, you call this a Shilka, okay, and you call that a ZU-23-2 or ZU-23, okay. Shilka,
Again,
ZU. Go ahead.
Common referred to as Zeus. The guns are typically referred to as Zeus and the guys.
There you go. Okay, then we've got vehicle identification. Okay, and we'll whip through that pretty quick. And I want to make sure that you know the difference between these different types of vehicles. Okay, the common differences. So come on down here. All right, so this is the BTR series of APCs, or Armored Personnel Carriers. Okay, there's 3 different versions here. On the right, we have a BTR 60. In the middle, we have a BTR 70, and on the end, we have a BTR 80. Okay, and the ways that you can commonly identify the differences between them. Okay, first of all, the major difference between, or one of the major differences between the BTR 60 and the BTR 70 is the way that the troops exit it. Okay. So on the BTR 60, the only real way to get out was through a side hatch or at the top. Okay. On the BTR 70, you'll notice a gap in between the second and third wheel here. Okay. They have a lower side hatch, and that's how the troops get out primarily. Okay. And then if you look at the BTR 80, you can see that on the BTR 80, there's a full side hatch that drops down, and the top half of the hatch is actually a step. Okay. So that's one key identifying feature and a way to differentiate between the 60, the 70, and the 80. Okay. Now the other one that'll help you is that on the BTR 60, you can see you've got a muffler here on the back side. Okay. And on the 70, you've got a different muffler on the back side. Both have that sloped back end. Okay. But if you look at the BTR 80, okay, you'll see that the BTR 80 doesn't have a sloped rear end. It's flat all the way across the top. Okay. Otherwise, the turrets are very similar. Okay. Easy to mistake the difference, but the real dead giveaway is no hatch here for the 60 on the side. Okay.
The gun turrets are different.
Yeah, the turrets are a little different, right? Obviously, when they went to the 70, they updated them, but
they added they have a coax 12.7 instead of just the cannon.
Just a cannon there. That's a good one. Okay. And if you were to look at the back, the 60 has one port here. These are all amphibious. Okay, so they're meant to go in water, and then there's a propeller underneath there, right? So there's one port here on the 60, and there's 2 on the 70 and 80, but you may not ever get a chance to. Oh no, wait, my bad. 2 on the 80? No, 1 on the 80. Okay,
also,
forget that.
There's only 1 spare tire on the 80.
Well, you might come across a different model, and they can actually, the editor, you can change that stuff.
Okay,
so
yeah. Okay.
you don't want to rely on that too much. Let me just make sure.
Also, 80s have countermeasure launcher on the backside of turrets, 60s and 70s don't.
Half second, just want to make sure I don't miss anything.
Yeah, and the 80 in Arma has a light on the turret, 60 and 70 have the light on the chassis. Or on the hull, I'm sorry, it's a hull because it's a tank. The 80's got a slightly different profile. It's got more of a humpback to it than a flat chassis or a flat hull.
Yeah, the 80 is really distinguishable by having that flat top at the back as opposed to the sloped top.
I mean behind the turret as well. A bit of a humpback behind the turret. If you look at the 60 and 70, they're completely flat backed.
Good. And there's also with the BTR 80. Okay, there's also a BTR 80A version out there that has a 30mm automatic gun on it. Quite a distinguishable turret. So that's rather than having a turretless shape of this, it's got more of a.
It's got a really long barrel too.
Yeah, super long barrel, but it's got a. The turret looks more like you might expect to see with an automated cannon. It's very, very distinguishable, the difference. Okay, so that's your BTRs. Let's go look at the BMDs and the BMPs.
I hate these little things. They're little bastards.
They're very effective as I have fees.
All right, so these here are infantry fighting vehicles. Okay, the BMD versus BMP. So the first thing to know is BMD versus BMP. BMD is an airborne designation for an airborne vehicle. Okay, these are meant to be dropped by aircraft. Okay, so they're smaller. All of these vehicles are amphibious. But the BMD vehicles here, as opposed to the BMPs to our right, okay, you'll see the BMDs are quite a bit smaller. Okay, turret is placed forward on the body. Okay, and the difference between a BMD-1 and a BMD-2, the BMD-1 came with this cannon. The BMP-2 comes with an autocannon.
30 millimeter autocannon.
Yeah, 30 millimeter autocannon. Also, the early models of both the BMP and the BMD, you'll see the same thing. They started off with an anti-tank missile up mounted on the barrel, versus the ATGM mounted on the turret. Okay, so this is a BMD-1 with the old cannon on it, and the anti-tank missile mounted on the cannon, and then we've got our BMD-2 with a ATGM mounted on the turret and a 30 millimeter autocannon. Okay, that's the big difference there. Come on up here. So the BMPs, okay, the BMPs are also very easy to distinguish based on the same aspects, same characteristics. Okay, now the BMP-1 to my left had a very, very low turret, but it also has that anti-tank missile mounted on top of a cannon. Okay, and I will tell you, give me a half second here, sort my crap out.
For what it's worth, those missiles that are exposed, those are called Saggers.
Sagger, good stuff. Okay, so this is a BMP-1 with the Sagger missile, as pointed out. Okay, in the mounted on the turret just above the barrel. Okay, on the BMP-2, same thing as with the BMD-2. Okay, we've got the ATGM mounted on top of the turret with a 30 millimeter autocannon. Okay, with the BMP-3, which is the most recent version. Okay. Again, clearly a different thing altogether. The BMP-3 has a 100 millimeter rifled gun, and if you come over here, you'll see that it's got a dual mounted.
So 30.
Yeah, a dual mounted 30 millimeter autocannon. Okay. And this 100 millimeter cannon on here will fire either HE and different types of rounds, or it will fire an ATGM laser guided missile. Okay, so they can load a missile or they can load shells into that cannon and launch them out.
It should be the same missile that the other ones fire, and that's the what the shit's it called?
It's an ATGM laser guided.
Yeah,
it's
we don't need to worry about the type.
It's a 3U BK10 ATGM.
Yeah, it's the Conkers. Same thing with Birdham fires.
So stand back a little bit here, fellas, and it's very easy to tell the difference between a BMP and a BMD, right? The BMDs are much smaller, and the difference between the BMP-1 and the BMP-2 is the missile on top and the cannon versus the 30 millimeter cannon on the 2, and the 3 is also very easily distinguishable. Okay.
Yep. One thing I just want to make a note of, guys. A lot of people do not put value in these these BMPs and BMDs. I can tell you from experience, do not underestimate them because they will kick your ass.
Fuck you up.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the BMP-2 came out.
This is the 80s.
The BMP-2 came out in 1980. That was the BMP-1. No, BMP-2 first produced in 1980. So you're looking at the same generation of infantry fighting vehicle as the Bradley, basically, right? And the BMP-3 is their upgraded version.
Yeah, I've noticed in experience that people seem to underestimate these things. They say it's just a BMP.
All right, fellas. Last but not least, we've got some tanks here. Okay, we've got 3 different tanks that we're looking at. Anybody want to take a stab at what's going on here?
As
right
in
to
what?
left?
As in what tanks they are?
Yeah.
The one in the far right is a T-72B, I think.
T-90.
Yeah, there's a 90.
No, that's a T-90.
T-90.
Check
This one right here that
This
I'm
is a
standing in front of?
T-70. This is like
Hold
this
on.
is like a T-70.
Hold on now.
Rip.
Hold on. Let me make sure I didn't screw up before I answer this, but
Unless I messed up.
55,
Oh yeah, so that's
72.
newer. Yeah, that's T-72 is in the middle. Rip.
Okay, so Schmitty was right on the money, first of all. This is a T-72.
Oh, Schmitty poo.
This is a T-80, and the one on the left is a T-90. Okay, so good job. Okay, very good job. Hang on just half a second here. Let me catch up. Okay.
The reactive armor screwed us up.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I thought
T72
too. When you
ERA
guys said
add-on.
no, it's wrong. I was like, wait,
T90s have
what?
integrated ERA, I think.
Okay.
Because
so
I
this
totally
is
thought
a-
I had this right.
You did
but-
have it right, Schmidt.
Okay.
This is a T-72. Okay. Now, a couple of things to note about the T-72 in relation to the other tanks. Okay. First thing is, see that big machine gun on the top there? Okay. That's one way you can tell that this is a T-72. Okay. This is a 12.7 millimeter AA turret mounted MG. Okay. And none of those other tanks are going to have that. Okay. So that's one way that you're going to be able to tell the difference. Okay.
Well, that's a special 72, though. That's not a standard 72.
Right, but all the 72s are going to have that turret mounted 12.7 at the back.
With the
Okay.
gunner shield, as well, I guess.
I
I
wouldn't
thought I
s-
dropped them down without that before.
I wouldn't swear to the shield. I wouldn't swear to the shield. Well,
I
as
could've-
I was saying though, that's just one way to tell the difference, guys. Okay.
Copy that.
So T-72, T-80, T-90,
What are all those
Okay.
green squares?
very similar from perspective of the number of road wheels, for instance. Okay, they all have 6 road wheels. Okay, the road wheels look a little different from tank to tank there, but you know, at a distance, you're not going to really be able to distinguish that. So it's the same number of road wheels. Okay, so left side of the turret at the rear. T-72 versus T-90, you're going to see a snorkel. That's what that is. That's for fording deep water. Okay. All of the tanks you're going to see have the self-recovery log at the back. The T-72 and the T-90 both have the racks for fuel drums on the back. Okay.
It's a log.
If you
That
come out to
actually
the
is
front,
a lot.
though, everybody come out to the front with me here.
No.
I'll explain how that works afterwards, Carson.
Yeah, it's a log for self-recovery.
What's those green squares?
It's reactive armor. Basically, if you hit it with an
Yeah.
anti-tank thing, it will explode that. Thus, the AT
This
round
is an
won't go through it.
upgraded T-72
okay.
model that's been modernized for armies other than Russia, basically, I guess. And it's add-on ERA. So the other thing, though, that's important to note is when you're looking at this tank from the front here, to the left side of the barrel, you're going to see that large infrared searchlight. That's what that is right there.
I hate that.
Now, same thing if you come to the T-80.
I assume they have thermals as well.
Yeah.
I wish they would model in the game that the T80 had a much higher heat signature compared to a T72 because the engine. But alas.
Silent green.
Argus, you're
Half
not
sec.
talking.
I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. Just hang on one second.
I just didn't want you to think you were talking and weren't.
T-72.
Taking screenshots from my collection.
Okay, if you get a chance to look at it, and you can see it from the front, you'll see that the T-80 here has this big V-shaped fording device on the front here. Okay, that's to clear obstructions for the driver if he's turned out, and also I think it probably has something to do with water crossings. But the primary way to tell the difference between the T-80 and the other tanks, of course, is this bit on the back right here. Again, this is a snorkel on the back of the turret, but it's quite a different snorkel than any of the other ones that are used. It's very, very easy to distinguish that. Okay, it's huge.
The big fat snorkel.
Yeah. So that's one of the primary ways you're going to tell the difference between the two. Okay.
I had a question on a T80 here. I don't see any type of gun attachment other than the main bore cannon. Is that something that is modded, or we would look out for?
So you're going to have a coaxial machine gun here, just the same. All these tanks are going to have a coax mounted. Oh, does the T-72? I think it does. Just a sec. Yeah. They all have a 7.62 coax, but so the primary differences on the T-80s, guys, the snorkel on the back is very easily identified. And if we remember on the T-72, we had to the left side of the barrel as we were looking at it, we had an infrared searchlight. We have a huge one on the right side of the turret here. Okay. And we've got this big V shape right here. Okay. Those are the three sort of main ways you can tell the difference. Let's go to the T-90. So that T-72 back there, a lot of the stuff that you were seeing on that is a little bit different than what you would see on a stripped down T-72. You know, they've upgraded it to be closer to a T-90, okay? When you stand back and look here at the three tanks, if you all stand back with me here. First things first, the T-90 stands out for a couple of different things. The first thing is these plates on the side near the front. The three plates there are going to be there. Also, the T-72 that is at the back there that's been upgraded, they have these equipment storage bays on the back half of the turret. You see where it says 717? It also has a the snorkel that you saw on the T-72. It also has the T-90 has the the 12.7 turret mounted gun on the front to middle part of the top of the turret. And another distinguishing feature is going to be that mast right there. Not the antenna, but this mast right here is an electronics countermeasures mast. That's the Shora. Is that Shora? Blah, blah, blah. ERA. Yeah. I can't remember if it's Shora or not, but that's countermeasures mast right there. Go ahead.
APS system.
Thank you. Do you want to tell us what that is?
The port on the back left on the 72 and the 90, that's the exhaust, right? Is the T-80 the only one with the exhaust on the back?
No, the exhaust on all the tanks is on the hull. That's just the snorkel you're talking about right there.
Okay.
The engine's down in the hull. And the APS, Argus, active protection system. The Russians started using it way before we have. It's fires off tiny little countermeasures to stop incoming ATGM rounds.
The easy, quick way to identify the tanks between the other three plates on the hull near the front, the machine gun mounted to the top of the turret, the electronics countermeasures, okay, versus on the T-80 over there, we've got that monster snorkel on the back there. We've got a big searchlight to the right of the turret as you look at it, or the right of the barrel. Got a big V right down the front of the hull. Okay, and then on the T-72 at the back, we've got the rear-mounted machine gun on top of the turret there. And go ahead, Tucker.
Also, one thing on the T9, I noticed, if you come around the front here, it has a crap load of IR searchlights.
Oh yeah.
Thermal sensors. So there's two on both sides and two above the gun itself. So if you're looking at it front on, you'll get a good idea. Also, the turret shape is quite different.
It's a lot lower.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
On the T-90, I'm noticing the machine gun on top. It's a crow system, which is manned from the inside. Is that something that would be added on any other tank, or is this exclusively on this tank?
Well, I mean, I can't speak to what they're doing in real life these days. I don't have the recent, history, but I would assume that, just like the United States Army bolts stuff onto older vehicles that are still in service, I'm sure that they would do the same. But lots of optics on the front, okay, and the machine gun, obviously. The T-90 is the most easily
Get out of the tank.
Don't get it. Don't get in that. Come on. God damn it.
I don't know how that turned on. I just got in.
God damn it.
Alright, boys, come on back.
I'm pretty sure Blackthorn just crashed.
Let's rein it in.
Look.
Everybody gaggle. Hey. Everybody gaggle around Argus. Come on.
All right, boys, we're almost done with the boring part here. Or this part of the boring part.
I really didn't mean to. I was
You're
trying to
good.
climb on
You're
top
good.
of
You're
it.
I know,
good.
Markham.
You're good.
I know, buddy.
You're good. Argus, you're good. Just he's
Is-
DCing
He's
or whatever.
crashed.
Just
He's
continue.
crashed, he's gone.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, fellas. Okay, so that's the vehicle identification portion here. Okay. In my mind, okay, there's a real easy to distinguish between, for say, BMD versus BMP. Okay. It's quite easy to distinguish between the different types of BTRs. Okay, BTR 60, BTR 70, BTR 80. And when you're doing reconnaissance, okay, detail is important. Okay, that type of information is important. Knowing whether the enemy is using up-to-date equipment or modified older equipment or just older equipment is valuable information. Okay, valuable information. Okay, so that wraps it up for vehicle ID. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to just launch right into talking a little bit about reconnaissance. Okay, obviously in a 1 hour section practice, you know, we're not going to get into you know, as much as you might like to. Okay, but I'm going to take about 10 minutes and I'm just going to go through some stuff with respect to reconnaissance, and then you guys are going to go out and do a little bit of a recon. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about here is we're going to be talking about area reconnaissance primarily. Okay, there's different types of reconnaissance. There's area, route, and zone reconnaissance. Okay, we're going to focus in on area because this is the type of reconnaissance that when you do reconnaissance in the cab, you'll be most likely to do. Okay, so an area reconnaissance patrol focuses on gathering detailed information on enemy activity, key terrain, or civilian aspects in a specific area. Okay. Common patrol types are point reconnaissance patrol, a civilian reconnaissance patrol, or a tracking reconnaissance patrol. A point reconnaissance patrol goes to a specific location and determines the situation there. They send a patrol report by radio and stay in location awaiting further orders, or they return to their larger unit to report. Okay, so point reconnaissance means we're going specifically to a location, like a village or a junction of a road or whatever it is. We're going to do a specific reconnaissance on that point. Okay, civil reconnaissance is where we go to a location and we're gathering detailed information on civilian activity, including identifying key infrastructure, key leadership, and or key workers. Also, we note details like, you know, are there dislocated civilians moving through the area? We're trying to get a full picture of the civilian situation in an area. Okay. Then you have tracking reconnaissance. Tracking reconnaissance is where we're following a trail of a specific enemy unit, determine its composition, its destination, and its actions as it's moving. Okay, so basically, you know, you've got an insurgent group that is raiding through the area, and basically your job is to track them, see where they go, see what they do when they get there, and where they go after that. Okay, so that's area reconnaissance more or less in overview. Okay, what we're going to be focusing on is point reconnaissance because point reconnaissance is the task that most likely you will be carrying out. So first things first with patrols, reconnaissance patrols. Okay, there's the composition of the patrol. Okay, so let's get the squad lined up in 2 fire teams in fire team line in front of me.
Alright, where is Argus? Okay, Bravo, form up with me. Fire team line off my right shoulder, please.
Yeah.
Fire team line, right shoulder.
And everybody else just come on out and stand with me out front.
I got a rockin' fire team over here.
Blackline should be coming here soon.
All right,
Just having
so
issues.
are we a little light on one team?
Okay,
a little heavy
yeah,
on
Yeah,
another?
yeah, we're
They're
light
here,
on Alpha
Carson.
right now.
So we got 5 in one team and 2 in the other.
It'll be 3 in a second.
Don't worry, Schmidt. Blackthorn moves in soon, so he'll have decent internet, not shitty internet.
Schmidt, do you want me to shift one over to the OT?
Yeah, might as well, yeah.
Childs, go Alpha.
Hang on 1 second.
I'm being flooded with memories of Childs and my fire team again.
Okay, fellas. So what you're looking at right here, the way we're set up is a patrol. Okay. We've got 2 4-man fire teams and we've got a patrol headquarters. Okay. So what we would do in this particular situation, your patrol composition, it depends on the mission. Okay. The size of the patrol depends on the mission and the situation. However, the following elements are pretty much always used. You're going to have a patrol headquarters, you're going to have recon teams, and you're going to have security teams. Okay. Your patrol HQ is going to be your patrol leader and your 2IC at a minimum. Maybe your platoon medic as well if you've got one. Your recon teams are going to be 2-man teams performing the actual reconnaissance, and you're going to have security teams of varying sizes used to patrol the areas between the recon teams and act as Overwatch and SBF. They also are available to be used as a QRF if somebody needs their fat pulled out of the fryer. Okay. The other thing you've got is you've got recon and security teams. Okay, so depending on how the patrol's set up, you may have your patrol set up where one fire team is split into 2 recon teams and the other fire team is a security element. Okay. Or hello.
Alright, Shaz, you're like brother.
I was switching. I was controlling, doing my thing.
Okay. So this fire team might be split up into 2-man reconnaissance elements, and this fire team might be the security element. Or this team might be split up into 1 2-man security team and 1 2-man reconnaissance team, and this is split up into 1 security team and 1 reconnaissance team. It just depends on the mission and how it's all set up, the size of the entire patrol, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Either way, you've got a patrol headquarters, you got recon elements, you got security elements. Okay. Basically, what's going to happen in reconnaissance is you're going to be you'll move to an ORP. Okay, we're all familiar with the concept of the ORP. Okay.
Roger.
You will then move out in your various elements to your OPs or your vantage points, your observation posts or your vantage points, okay, also known as OPs, okay. And then what will happen is you'll clear your local area and then you'll begin your observation plan, okay. You'll carry out your observation plan, you'll report back your findings, your patrol report by radio, then you'll move back to your ORP, or your wherever it is you're linking up, whatever point has been designated, and then you'll move on out of the area. Or you may be required to stay in place and maintain observation while another unit or the rest of your unit is maneuvering. Okay. The key concepts here, first of all, when you're doing reconnaissance, you're not meant to make direct contact with the enemy. Okay. You're meant to make visual contact. You're meant to see and not be seen. Okay. That's very important. Once you gain contact with the enemy, you need to maintain contact with the enemy, okay? So if you're following an enemy, you don't want to let them out of your sight. If you let them out of your sight, all sorts of bad things can start to happen. The composition of the element can change. They can double back to cover their back trail. All kinds of bad things can happen, okay? So once you've gained contact with the enemy, and by contact I mean visual, not direct. Direct meaning, shooting at each other, okay? It's important to maintain contact at all times. Okay? So we go to our ORP. What's going to happen is the patrol leader is going to conduct a short leader's reconnaissance. Okay, he's going to go and have a quick look at the ground again, make sure that what he's seen in pictures and on maps actually reflects the reality on the ground, that where he's designated his OPs and where a security element should be makes sense on the ground. As soon as he's done that, he'll roll back to the ORP, and then he'll either issue a frago to revise his plan based on what he's seen, or he'll say, yep, we're good to go as planned, let's go. Okay. While he's doing his leader's reconnaissance, the patrol TUIC, when you reach the ORP, immediately is responsible for setting up security and establishing communications, making sure that everything's good with the patrol leader. Okay. Patrol leader returns, as I said, issues a frag order or deploys the teams, and the security element is then sent on its way to set up in an overwatch position to provide SBF or to patrol as required. Okay, so basically what you got is you got your recon teams that are going out to do their reconnaissance. They're going to OPs or vantage points. You've got a security element that could be used in varying ways. Okay, so depending on how many OPs are required for the objective and how spread out they are, sometimes there'll be a security element that is patrolling from OP to OP to OP. Okay, another time, where they're maybe closer together, what the security team will be doing is setting up in an overwatch position where the plan is that the teams, the recon teams, will exfiltrate past them, and the SBF is in a position to be able to suppress any enemy that's chasing them if they get discovered for some reason. Okay. Is that pretty clear as mud for everybody? Go ahead, Tucker.
So, in regards to the support by fire position for the security team, would that ever actually be at the ORP itself? Like, I
No.
So you'd push it past that at some point.
So remember, like, remember what the qualities of a good RP are, whether it be an en route rally point or an objective rally point. Okay, it needs to be somewhere where you can hunker down, somewhere that's easily identifiable, and somewhere where you can reorganize yourselves, treat wounded, casualties, resupply yourself, redistribute ammunition, whatever you need to do, and be defensible for a certain amount of time. Okay. That's a whole different kettle of fish from a support by fire position, which its intended purpose is to provide overwatch over a route of travel, or provide a field of fire to support an assaulting element or elements that are falling back. Okay, so the ORP is somewhere back. Okay, it's not close to the positions. Okay, does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So again, in a nutshell, sort of, we go to the ORP, we confirm our plan, our recon elements go out, our security element deploys, we do our observations. Before you leave your OP, you radio back your patrol report to the patrol leader. Anybody want to guess why we do that?
Communication.
In case you bite it.
Everyone.
Yeah.
So everyone knows you're still alive.
Yeah, in case you bite it, right? So, we don't want to waste, and again, in the Cav and in Arma, right, we're not going to be out there for days at a freaking OP, but, in real life, okay, if you were going to be there for more than 6 hours, there would be a timetable at which you would communicate a patrol report, okay, every 6 hours, every 4 hours, whatever the rotation is going to be, so that information is continuously being updated and is not out at the OPs. Okay, if you die at the OP and we've been there for 4 days, all that information's gone unless we go and retrieve it, which we don't want to do if you got engaged and killed. Okay, so you radio in your patrol port, you go back to the link up area, and you move on out of there and back to wherever. Okay. All right, last couple things. So when you're occupying an observation post, okay, so you're moving from your ORP to your observation post, okay, key things here, obviously, as I said, see, don't be seen, okay. So when you're moving, what do you want to do when you're moving from your ORP to your OP? What's one way you want to move? You want to just run along with your rifle down, or how do you want to do it? Anybody?
You want to
Slowly.
You want to
Slowly. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Alright. You want to move slowly, using as much cover and concealment as possible. Most likely take any type of dips in the terrain to get the best avenue to exfil the area, not in a direct line. Basically, the best way for you to be able to exfil without being seen and get back to your COC alive, being able to relay that information.
Sure. So, like any kind of planning that we do, right? When we plan out how we're going to do a reconnaissance patrol, a point reconnaissance patrol, right? When we set out where our best OPs are, we set out where our ORP is. Obviously, it implies the fact that we've been planning how you're going to get from the ORP to the OP. Okay. So yeah. Oh, whoop. Sugar.
I got him.
TP. So the thing is, right? Slow and steady wins the race. Okay. Move from cover to cover. Take lots of listening halts. Okay. Lots of short halts. 15, 30 seconds, stop in cover and concealment, or at least in concealment, right? And look around, listen, don't say anything, don't talk, okay? And listen for signs of enemy activity, okay? When you're clear, get back up, move on to the next place you want to stop. Lots of stops, okay? Easy going, lots of stops. Then when you get to your OP, okay, first things first is local security, okay? So there's 2 of you there. Okay, And what you want to do is you want to split your area up, and you want to make sure you, first of all, when you get to your OP, you stop. You don't do anything for 30 seconds to a minute. Okay. Again, listening for signs of enemy activity. Okay. Once you've done that, now you want to start getting eyes on everything from the 0 to 200 meter range around you. Okay. And you want to make sure that it's clear and that you're at least aware of any activity that's going on around you. Okay. There's no avoiding the fact that sometimes you have to get up close and nasty with reconnaissance, okay? But you need to be aware of the things that are going on within that short perimeter around you, okay? Once you've scoped out your local security situation and you understand exactly what's going on, you know, get a good feel for that's a tree, not a pink rabbit, you know, whatever, okay? That vehicle is there, it's parked, okay, that vehicle there, okay, yep, that guy there, he's sitting there drinking coffee, okay, I got a grasp of that, all that kind of stuff, yeah? Yeah, we're going to that. So then what's going to happen is you're going to start your observation plan, okay? And in your observation plan, basically what's going to happen is one of you is going to be looking at the short ground always, and one of you is going to be looking at the long ground always, okay? So you always want to have eyes on, basically in the short ground, understanding, listening. One person's job is to be responsible for security, local security in that area, and one person's job is to carry out the reconnaissance activities. When you're in a longer reconnaissance, you want to switch that up quite often, okay? You don't want to go more than 10-15 minutes before you switch that up, okay? For a variety of reasons that, you know, I'm not going to bother going into, but it is important to switch it up, just for the sake of, you know, sheer boredom sometimes, or relieving sheer boredom, okay? Now, what are you going to do? What are you going to be looking at? What are you going to be looking for? What are you going to do with that information, okay? So the first thing is you know, you want to start taking a good hard look at whatever the objective is, okay? Sometimes the objective is going to be enemy, okay? Sometimes the objective is going to be, you know, any traffic coming down a road, okay? You know, sometimes it's going to be a village, okay? And so you want to start considering a whole bunch of different things in respect to that. First is, obviously, anything that's going to be hostile to you, okay? You're going to start with that. You're going to start noting locations, okay? When you're doing reconnaissance, generally speaking, you'll be equipped with optics, and you'll be equipped with a at least an Android or a CTAB, okay? And you're going to start making notes on your Android and your CTAB, and that's how we communicate back to, so that we don't lose it, okay? So you're going to start putting things into your CTAB. If you don't have one for some reason, get your Cav notebook out and start drawing, okay? Make a little sketch of the area, get a sense on your sketch of the distance between your location and the different points, okay? And then you're going to start making notes on, you know, first of all, always prioritize crew-served weapons, enemy armored vehicles, infantry fighting vehicles, armored personnel carriers, technicals, jeeps, whatever it is, okay? Static gun positions, all that kind of stuff. So start working through the statics, okay? Get your static locations, your bunkers, you know, all that kind of stuff sorted out, okay? And then once you've done that, now start paying more attention to the things that are moving around, okay? Do they have any pattern? Is there a patrol? Does the patrol take the same route? What route do they take? How often do they come back to the same point? So if you're watching a patrol that's circumnavigating some sort of base or whatever it is, right? Record one point that you're going to look at and the time that they were at it, okay? And then watch for them to come around again. Do they come around every 10 minutes, every 5 minutes, every 2 minutes, every 25 minutes? What is it, okay? That's important to know. Is there a gap in their coverage that we can exploit, okay? You want to record vehicle types, right? That's why we did this part right here, okay? If you're looking at civilian activity, you know, is there a guy in charge, okay? Who is he? What's he about? Get lots of information about, you know, what he wears, okay? What buildings he goes into and out of, okay? Is there a vehicle that he uses? What kind of vehicle is it exactly? What color, etc., okay? Does he have a bodyguard? Does he have multiple bodyguards? What's the deal? Reconnaissance is not necessarily the most interesting thing to do, and it's one reason why we don't do a whole lot of it, okay? Because in reality, it's a whole lot of standing around looking at stuff, okay? Which is not something that everybody wants to do when they come to play video games, okay? But some people do enjoy it, okay? And you know, the better job you do at it, I think if you're one of those people, the more you're going to enjoy it, the more you're going to get out of it. Okay, what's our time? Yeah, that's as much as I want to go into. Okay. So it's important to write down detailed information or use the technical means that you have available to you, like CTAB, Android, you know, your microdagger, whatever it is. Use those tools, accurately put locations on things, and record just about everything you can see. Okay, that's going to be of value to us, or that you think may have value to us. Okay. In your observation plan, when you go into a mission and you're actually doing a reconnaissance, you'll be told, okay, this is what you're looking for, this is what we want to know, these are the kind of things, the kind of information we need, okay? All that will be spelled out to you in your orders, okay? Yes, a hunt IR will alert enemies nearby. You're never going to use a hunt IR. That's an active surveillance measure, okay? And never a good thing to use in reconnaissance. I've probably missed a couple things, guys. I was trying to put a handout together for you, but I just didn't quite have enough time to finish it. But I am going to finish it, and I'll make sure it gets to Schmitty and gets passed down to you guys. And it'll fill in maybe a couple of the blanks that I wasn't able to have enough time to do. So what we're going to do now, so how many guys we got?
Looks like 8.
8. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4.
You got 8, yep.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, well that's good. All right. So what's going to happen now is what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you off to some objectives. Okay, a 2-man team per objective. We're not going to play around with, you know, all of the stuff that I talked about. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to send you to an RP. You're going to make your way to an observation post, and you're going to spend 5 or 10 minutes recording your observations. Okay. And just to get a bit of a sense of the deal, okay? Any questions on anything I talked about there? All right,
pretty solid.
Very good. All right, let's see here. All right, let's do this. Schmitty, you here?
Yep.
All right. Take Alpha, okay? And what I want you to do is 2 of them go to Alpha. Hold on, actually, just a sec. Let's do this. Okay, look at your maps.
Mm-hmm.
All right. See objective Bravo and Echo?
Yep.
Yep.
And the OPs there. So Alpha team gets objective Echo and Bravo. One team goes to the OP to look at Echo, and one team goes to the OP to look at Bravo. Okay.
Okay.
And I ran out of time, so I'll just select the ORP for this other one real quick. Standby 1, and then we'll get rid of, or we'll take care of Bravo.
All right, Alpha. I'll take you guys right there.
I feel like we're gonna get the more down and dirty, friggin'. Like looking at the map right now, we're gonna be crawling through the fucking mud.
Hey, man.
Maybe.
Oh, absolutely, I can tell.
How do you think I just walked down that street and followed you guys for 20 minutes during your little firefights before? No, I crawled my face through that damn mud.
Yeah.
I also took notes, by the way. I have it sitting next to my arm.
Hi, Markham.
What's up?
Oh, one last thing, guys, and this is really important. Sorry.
Glad I got to hear the important bit. Argus, stop talking for a second. I can't hear you. Thank you.
Okay. All right. When we put map markers down, guys, those are approximations. Okay, whether it be the SBF position or whether it be your assault position or whether it be an OP, you're expected to use your initiative within 50 meters or so to get into the best position, because unless we actually put eyes on those positions beforehand, we don't actually know if they're perfect right on the dot. Okay, so don't go to the darn dot and go, well, I can't see anything, this is stupid. Okay, you're expected to move around a little bit to sort yourself out. Okay.
Sounds
Alright.
good.
We'll go.
Good to go.
Where are we starting at? We're just going straight to the OP. Okay. Son of a bitch. Hello?
Bush.
Can you hear me?
More bush.
Hello?
There you are.
I have no idea where the fuck we are. This is really an Overwatch point. Holy shit, I like this point.
Where'd the other two go?
No idea. I have no idea where the fuck we are. I think we're at, let's see. Based on what I'm seeing here, we're at the first RP at the most southern point of the map. Let's see.
We don't have a GPS, do we?
No. But yeah, we're at the first RP, well, the RP furthest. Okay, we're heading into that objective down there. Alright.
674 meters.
Yeah. Alright, come on. So Carson, normally you want to take trails like this. And that village has eyes on us, but here we can move our way down, except for this fucking cliff face. Jesus Christ.
Oh no, man. Okay, you're not good. I'll start bandaging you. These shitty quick clots. I can't tourniquet your head. Oh man, bleeding like a stuck pig. That's all these shitty quick clocks. They're not doing shit. I tourniquet your arm. Keep on your head. I promise not to tourniquet your head. Hope I got enough. All right. Head looks good. Working on legs. Your arm is still tourniquet.
Yes, this is what I do, my YouTube audience, whenever I go unconscious. I steam message people.
Still bleeding. Looks like your head's bleeding again. I don't know, man.
Alpha, how copy on Channel 1?
I may want to talk to Zeus.
This is Childs on Block 3, Channel 1, how copy?
Actual Carson.
Oh my god, I'm alive. Carson.
Testing, where are you, man?
Hello?
Hello?
Where are you?
I'm here.
Where's here?
Keep walking straight, you're getting closer. I see you.
My screen is so flashy.
Alright, I used all my bandages. Look at the mess you made. Are we continuing on to the village?
Yes,
Somebody said I was on the wrong block.
you are. Childs, this is Kutso, copy over.
I hear someone behind us.
Coots, Childs, be advised, we gotta move in a lot closer than the OP. We couldn't
That's
see
that
jack
first
shit
step,
from there.
man.
We're moving in for a closer recon near the intersection of the 3 roads, directly southwest of Objective Bravo.
You good to go?
Yeah, hang on. When people tell me to use a GPS, and I have no GPS. I have a micro dagger.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Shit. Oh, I got one too. Just have to remember how to bring it up.
So.
Oh man, this is half on my other screen.
It's okay, I got it. You can close yours. So basically, like I was saying, is you want to stay in areas where you're not going to be seen. So like this ditch right here.
Coots, Childs, did you copy my last a moment ago?
I received it, however I did not comprehend it. I was busy trying to not die. Over.
Say again, recon element is moving closer to the road intersections to the direct southwest of objective. We had no eyes from the OP point and had to move in closer if you guys want to find out what's in there.
Copy. Are you heading to objective Bravo? Over. Now, crossing roads are scary. Childs, this is Kutsa, copy, over.
Go for Childs.
What objective are you heading for, over?
Objective Bravo. Where I have eyes on part of it now.
Copy. Well, you are taking leadership of that. I am currently with Carson going to objective Echo, over.
Say again, you cut off at the end.
We are going for objective... Hold one. Echo. So, that's up to you, bud. Over. Hi. We're doing recon.
I know.
Alright, so Carson, right here, what do you think?
Childs, be advised, T-90 just got lit up by some type of autocannon or some type of explosive rounds.
Childs, this is Coots. I copy. You are in command of your recon team. I have my own. Report to Schmidt, if possible. Over. Alright.
Copy that, I thought you was reporting to you.
Blackthorn. And
Yo.
Carson, what is the best avenue of approach here?
Definitely not up the. Well, you could use that little ravine up there if you didn't have any cover.
I see a lot more cover on the left here, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, both are good, but left is the best. You have more cover and foliage.
These are the wrong colored uniforms, man.
These are the right color uniforms. You don't want to be doing this shit in ACUs.
How about the
Alright.
multi?
So, guys, we're going to be flanking around this because what I understand, there are actual fucking enemies inside this ville. So we're going to be rolling around.
Multicam is not this bright in real life.
No, it's not. I have a pair. I have multiple pairs.
Man, multicam looks really good in this environment.
Yeah, you guys are like, we look like beacons of light.
Carson, all I'm going to say is I was in the army during the ACU phase, and I got out at the tail end of the multicam phase, and multicam's all the way. ACUs, you look like fucking beacons in this shit. I got one times house on the left. And move up this ravine. Damn tree.
I'm gonna need some stamina. My guy's tired.
Hold up here. Hold up here.
Where-
Blackthorn. Hold up here. Get your breath back. So, Blackthorn, I'm kind of sad you missed it. I fell off a fucking cliff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. I don't know. I think you broke a couple, maybe a leg,
Yeah, everything was
your
broken.
head.
Who's tapped me in the right shoulder?
I probably did.
Okay.
I see he has like 10 bandages on him.
Are we supposed to be looking around more often?
Yeah, I'm trying to get us to get Overwatch.
Okay. To make up for that cliff fall.
Yeah. Not sure if we supposed to stay at the fucking OP or not, because that's... Oh, get the fuck down. Crawl back. Shrouds is Kutsa copier. you know what the command channel is for Schmidt? Over.
Command channel is 4.
Copy that out. Alright guys, stay low. I got ×2 BTRs ahead of me. I cannot tell what model they are though. I think they're BTR. Yeah, they're BTR 60s. Hold on.
Bearing?
Directly fucking the way I'm facing.
The one that's got a 50 cal on the front.
Schmidt, this is Kutzak, copy, over. Schmidt, this is Coots. How copy, over? Charles, did you say block 3 or channel 3? Over.
I know we are block 3, channel 1. You said Schmidt was on what channel on the 343?
Yes.
BTR on the move. BTR on the move.
That's not an answer to my question. I said what channel. Yes is not a channel.
Oh, I do not know the channel I was asking you, over. Stay the fuck down.
I give up. You're not making sense.
It's moving east.
I did not know the command channel. I was asking if you knew it, over.
The command channel is on the 152, and it's like 13 or 14 on the 152.
Anybody have a 152?
So it's channel 13 on 152.
I've got one.
Alright.
I can pass it to you.
Yeah.
It's on the ground.
Schmidt, this is Kutzak, have you? Alright, let's swing a little bit left. Alright, do you know what I'm up, he sees me, I'm down is?
Say it again.
Do you know what I'm up, he sees me, I'm down is?
No.
It's where you get up, run for 3 seconds, and drop. For me. Carson.
Yeah.
Follow me. index. Hit escape and click respawn.
Rip Markham and
All over to the respawn? Or all over here, whatever.
I didn't Tucker. Get the spawn. Let's try this again.
Oh, we're being teleported. Ah! Rip
Rar.
Cool.
Rip Markham.
Yeah. Rip us, man.
You dummies.
What
Hey.
happened to that recon element, man?
Alright, I have to take this phone call with my grandfather, so you guys are in good hands with the AAR. I'm sure it was all productive, so without further ado, I'll pass this on to Special Sugarheart. Thanks for showing up, and you guys can go down the list. Special thanks to Argus again for doing this. Much appreciated,
pass
brother.
in our report?
You're ASL, you can take over.
Alright, cool. Well, I mean, I guess we can report our reports to Argus. I think that's a fair, and that way we can get some,
Yeah,
feedback
let's do
on that, right?
I'm here. Let's do that. We all know what's going on. So.
Okay, cool. So I guess we'll start with Alpha. So Coots, you could take us away. So do your two teams.
Okay. My team, so myself, Blackthorn, and Carson. Didn't really get good eyes on because I fell off a fucking cliff for the first 5 minutes. Other than that, we spotted 2 BTR-60s about 60 meters in front of our face, and that's about it.
Cool.
Right.
So Markham Davidson, you wanna explain what happened with you guys?
We were gonna come back and ask what happened with us. It
I
took
still
us
got
a
2
while
guys, Tucker.
to get.
Sorry.
Oh,
Continue,
did we
please.
really, Carter? Oh, R.I.P., dude. So evidently, we missed a patrolling squad somewhere along the airstrip, right about halfway to the OP. Like 2 guys. Oh, all right, never mind.
Okay,
Like 2...
all right. Hold.
Yeah.
So continue, Coots, with your other guys.
Sugar.
My bad.
So, me and Charles didn't really have good eyes on from where we started at, so we had to move in closer. So once we got a little bit closer, we were able to spot one T-80 tank that was on patrolling from the main barracks in the town to the northeast road, and just go back and forth every couple of minutes. We had one possible enemy commander. We couldn't really identify. There's one person in that structure. We couldn't really identify who he was. Never came out or anything. And then we also had one BMP just east of the rice fields on the town, and that was all we saw.
Okay. So.
And an anti-aircraft gun by the barracks.
Cool. All right. So Davidson and Markham continue. So what exactly happened with you guys?
I'll cut it a lot shorter. If you look at the map, you'll see the road hooking south just before the airfield. Once we crossed that, we pushed about another, I don't know, maybe 150 meters down into a pretty deep ditch there. And as we were we mid-short halt? No, we heard like 3 rounds off in the distance, at least, I don't know, 75 meters away or so. Thought we had time as we were discussing what to do in regards to, proper shift of pathing, I guess. Like 2 guys at least walked right up on us and just started letting rip. Markham went down almost instantly, and then I went down shortly after.
Okay, cool. So moving forward, some constructive feedback. Make sure we're establishing that security, and as we're going, make sure we're listening to what the lieutenant said. Stop, do your short halts, listen, look. Make sure you're using that concealment to your advantage.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, on comment on that, I really feel like our movement was actually really well. We were taking our time. We were taking those short halts, conducting the seals. We came to an LDA. We executed this LDA properly by setting up security, sending one person through. After they set their security, we went through, also taking cover concealment. It was shortly after making our LDA run is whenever we took those fires off, that fire. As we were doing that, we were scanning our sector pretty well, and there was absolutely nothing seen So I don't know if it was just like a little Arma thing where they basically saw us through trees and started shooting. And it did seem like they were a lot further away because we didn't just sit around with our thumbs up our ass. Where I was like, hey man, we need to go ahead and shift south-southeast. That way we can break this contact a little bit and get out of the way. And just as soon as I said that, all of a sudden the voices like they were like hard charging our position. Then I just got lit up. So I don't really know what happened there.
So
what was
that
your
was just a
acre value
patrol
at?
that was going down the road, and they caught. I don't remember who the trail guy was, but whoever the trail guy was came out of cover just a little bit, came out of that low ground, and was just visible there for a minute. But that notwithstanding, okay, the only two things I really want to say about that, because it happened to be the one that I was overwatching, the scenario that I was overwatching. Just the two things, okay? And I say this to everybody who goes through land navigation. When you're moving surreptitiously and you're using low ground cover and concealment to move, and I know I've told people this in AIT as well, okay? When you're taking that covered and concealed route, okay? When you're down in that ditch, it's real great because nobody can see you, but you know what? You can't see what's outside that ditch, okay? You can't see what's 5 meters, 10 meters away from you, okay? So, you know, in an ideal situation, that's one of the jobs of the security element with reconnaissance is to overwatch your route so that they can tell you if somebody's walking up on you. But if you don't have that available to you, when you do your short halt, okay, you need to make sure that you clear that that ground that is above you. You need to peek up over the edge and just make sure you know what's going on at some point, right? You can't just wander in the low ground, and I'm not saying that's what you did, but you cannot just stay in the low ground with ever having looked out, okay? Because a patrol could have walked, you know, which is exactly what happened. It was about 50 meters away from you and spotted the trail guide. And the other thing is as soon as that contact happens, now it's all about, okay, we're blown and we're out of here. So it's break contact, right? So it should be one guy saying, right, break contact east, go.
Yep.
That's it.
Cool. So from myself and Hugh's perspective, we made our way to the OP without taking contact or being compromised, which was cool. From our OP, we didn't really have a great line of sight across the river. There was a lot of foliage in the way, so we pushed up to, I'd say 100 meters or 200 meters north of that OP. Spotted some bunker positions there along the western side of the road, or western side of the coast, if you want to open your maps. At 10:22, we saw 2 times Zodiacs approach from the north, each with one driver. They were wearing like an LBV with an AK and the cargo shorts. They look like kind of like drug smugglers, is what I would chalk it up to. Anyways, they met with a man on land. So this guy was a civilian. He was wearing blue clothing. At that time, another Zodiac arrived. So there was 3 Zodiacs there on the shore. Let me just see. I'm trying to read my notes here. I was scratching these down pretty quick. So at that time, another Zodiac pushed north to south down the river at 10:26. We're not sure if he turned back around again or if that was another Zodiac that approached from the south. We lost eyes on him for that second, which is a problem with the foliage there. At 10:20.